Ross Tucker just hinted the Browns' final move could change everything, and Shedeur Sanders is at the center of it.
Card to play, which they're going to play at some point with Shedeur Sanders. I don't know when that's going to be, but they're going to play that card at some point, and I know you guys are all clamoring for it. Maybe it'll be the game I do. Maybe that would be that. Hey, that's when they should. If they want rating, I need the ratings.
Everybody was playing good defense except for the nickelback. And so in terms of what you said about Emerson, I don't know what their internal eval was on Harden and Newsome. I think they kind of like Harden, but he's a second-year, seventh-round pick. He's still kind of learning, which is maybe why they're giving Mitchell those reps. But let's just put it this way. It hurt him tremendously, and who do you think the Packers are going to pick on this week? What position do you think they're going to target? Everybody's just drawing up plays now to try to pick on the cornerback for the Cleveland Browns, and rightfully so. The nickelback for the Cleveland Browns, and rightfully so.
Ross Tucker just dropped a bombshell that has Browns fans losing their minds. The NFL insider, who's been defending Stefanski and Barry all season, finally admitted what we've all been thinking. There's something seriously wrong with how this coaching staff operates. But here's where it gets wild. Tucker revealed that the Browns have been holding their last card with Shedeur Sanders, and when he exposed what really went down during his own experience with Shedeur in college, the entire pre-draft process started making sense. From players straight up refusing interviews to mysterious production meeting no-shows, Ross just connected dots that 5 NFL GMs were already whispering about. And when he said the Jets' loss was more than just one loss for this coaching staff, he wasn't just talking about the game. Stick around, because what Tucker revealed about the Browns' tactics and Shedeur's future in Cleveland is about to blow your mind.
Well, so I'll tell you something that's interesting, because you referenced empty seats. That is the number one thing that causes action among owners. Number one, apathy and empty seats, way worse than rage. Now, the thing is
why not let Shedeur get a series then? Heck, let him play in some NFL action. You move them up to 2 on the depth chart. There's a couple minutes left. Game's over. Why not let him get out there and get his feet wet a little bit in the NFL in a setting that doesn't matter as much, just like he did in preseason? Made no sense to me. ESPN Cleveland looked at this and said, well, maybe that's why the Browns didn't put in Shedeur. They didn't want to start a quarterback controversy, right? You put in Shedeur at the end, he goes and scores a touchdown, and all of a sudden everyone's going to scream that he should be the starting quarterback. So what? So what if that starts a quarterback controversy? That means this is a team that needs a quarterback. Like, you're going to make decisions scared then about what the public has to say? Oh, you're not going to play how you traditionally should play the sport? Put in the backup when it's a blowout? Because you're scared that fans are going to scream that you should bench your starting quarterback?
Look, I'm going to be straight with you. When Ross Tucker showed up on this Cleveland sports show, nobody expected him to flip the script the way he did. This is the same guy who's been out here defending Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry for months, saying everyone's being too harsh on them. But something changed. Something snapped. And what he revealed about the Browns organization, their coaching decisions, and most importantly, their plan with Shedeur Sanders has the entire NFL talking. Let me set the scene for you real quick. The Browns just got absolutely embarrassed by the Jets. Not just beat, embarrassed. They gave up a kickoff return touchdown and a punt return touchdown in the first quarter. Jameis Winston took 2 sacks on 4th down. 2! Cam Thomas jumped off sides on what should have been a game-sealing defensive stand. And Ross Tucker, watching from wherever he was, finally saw what we've been screaming about all season. Here's what Tucker said, and I want you to really listen to this because he doesn't mince words. He called the Jets' loss a really bad look for a lot of people in the Browns organization. Not just the players, not just one coordinator, the organization. He said there's something off there, something fundamentally broken about how this team operates. And coming from a guy who played under Belichick, Parcells, and Gibbs, that means something. But wait, it gets better. Or worse, depending on how you look at it. Ross dropped this line that should have every Browns fan either excited or terrified. They have one last card to play, which they're gonna play at some point with Shedeur Sanders.
I apologize in advance if I'm wrong. I remember reading an article last year that there was a broadcaster that was supposed to interview Shedeur, and I think he said
it was me.
I thought it was you, and that's why I hesitated to bring it up. For those that haven't heard that story,
Now, before you start jumping up and down thinking Shedeur is about to save this franchise, let me tell you what Ross really said. He didn't say they should play that card. He said they will play it. There's a difference. And that difference tells you everything you need to know about how this Browns front office operates. They're not making moves based on what's best for winning. They're making moves based on what saves their jobs. Think about it. Andrew Berry just made that trade with the Jaguars. Tucker pointed out something crucial. You don't make a trade like that unless you think you're going to be around in 2026. So Berry's playing chess, while Stefanski might be playing checkers with a blindfold on. Tucker even suggested that because of that trade, Berry might be more likely to survive this disaster of a season, while Stefanski gets shown the door. And honestly, that might be exactly what needs to happen. Because what Tucker exposed about this coaching staff's decisions is borderline criminal. Let me break down what he said about that Jets game specifically, because this is where you see how unprepared and undisciplined this team really is.
He kind of lost me a little bit, or at least frustrated me. He took sacks on 4th down twice.
Oh, yeah, bad sacks.
Like stuff like that. So for me, I'm not a Browns fan, whatever, to look at this team, okay, and to see a team that 2 special team touchdowns, the quarterback takes 2 sacks on 4th down.
Crazy.
Devin Bush gets a holding penalty.
Man.
They weren't going to throw the ball there.
Jameis Winston took a sack on 4th down. Not once, twice. Now, I've defended Jameis before. I think he gets more hate than he deserves sometimes. But taking 2 sacks on 4th down? That's not just on the quarterback. That's a coaching failure. Where's the quick throw? Where's the hot route? Where's the screen pass if nothing's there? Tucker said he's been a Jameis defender, but even he admitted that moment frustrated him. And when you frustrate Ross Tucker, a guy who tries to see the positive in everything, you know it's bad. Then there's Devin Bush getting a holding penalty on a play where the Jets weren't even going to throw the ball. Tucker said it explicitly. They were not going to throw it unless someone was wide open. Justin Fields had already tucked it away, but Bush holds, gives them a free 1st down, and the Jets go on to win the game. That's undisciplined football. That's coaching. And Cam Thomas going off sides? Are you kidding me? Tucker said something that should make every Browns fan's blood boil. He said, there's something off there where there's not some call or something where those guys don't move. Translation, this coaching staff isn't preparing players for critical situations. They're not drilling discipline into these guys. They're not putting them in positions to succeed.
He kind of lost me a little bit, or at least frustrated me. He took sacks on 4th down twice.
Oh, yeah, bad sacks.
Like stuff like that. So for me, I'm not a Browns fan, whatever, to look at this team, okay, and to see a team that 2 special team touchdowns, the quarterback takes 2 sacks on 4th down.
Crazy.
Devin Bush gets a holding penalty.
But here's where Ross Tucker really started connecting the dots. And this is the part that should terrify every Browns fan. He brought up empty seats. He said the number one thing that causes action among owners is apathy and empty seats. Not rage, not fans calling into shows screaming, empty seats. And he made sure to compliment Browns fans, saying you can make a strong argument that Browns have the best fans in the NFL because of the loyalty, despite getting almost nothing in return for 25 years. But here's the thing, that loyalty is starting to crack. Tucker knows it, the organization knows it, and that's why they're holding on to the Shedeur Sanders card. It's their nuclear option, their Hail Mary, their break glass in case of emergency plan. Now, let me tell you what happened when Ross Tucker actually dealt with Shedeur Sanders personally, because this is where the story gets absolutely wild and starts to explain why Shedeur's draft stock fell the way it did. Tucker was doing the Colorado versus Colorado State game for CBS last year. Big game. Important broadcast. He flew out to Denver on a Wednesday, even though he was doing Thursday Night Football on radio, because he wanted to be prepared. That's the kind of professional Ross Tucker is. He went to Colorado's practice specifically to talk with the players, do his homework, and put on a great broadcast. The sports information director told him Travis Hunter doesn't do a lot of media, but Shedeur would talk with him. Perfect. Tucker's ready. Then they tell him, oh, Shedeur got hurt against Nebraska. He needs treatment. He can't talk to you. Okay, that's understandable. Injuries happen. So Tucker asks who else he can talk to. Jimmy Horn Jr.? Sure. Hank Salinska, the starting center? Okay.
Here's where it gets disrespectful. They walk off the field. The SID goes up to Jimmy Horn Jr., points directly at Ross Tucker, a CBS broadcaster who's doing their game, and Jimmy Horn Jr. looks at him, says no, and keeps walking. Just straight up refuses. No explanation. No, sorry, I'm not feeling it today. Just no. But the Shedeur situation? That's what really exposes something deeper. They told Tucker that Shedeur would talk to him Friday night at the production meeting. Production meetings are standard in broadcasting. The announcers meet with key players and coaches to prepare for the game. It's how you get storylines, understand tendencies, and make the broadcast better for fans. Shedeur doesn't show up to the production meeting. Instead, they send Jelante Wester, a receiver. Tucker said they didn't even give a reason why it was a rookie receiver instead of the starting quarterback. The only thing Tucker thought was weird? When they're leaving the hotel, there's a pickup truck right out front, and Shedeur is just sitting in the back of it, right there, not injured, not getting treatment, just hanging out. Tucker even said he regrets not walking up and introducing himself right then and there. Asking Shedeur point blank, hey, why didn't you want to do the meeting? And here's what Tucker speculated. Maybe with all the attention, all the commercials, all the media surrounding Deion in Colorado, maybe Shedeur just didn't know he was supposed to be at a production meeting. Or maybe he just didn't feel like doing it. Now, before the Shedeur stans come for me in the comments, let me say this. Ross Tucker himself said this didn't affect how he called the game. He's a professional. But here's what Tucker pointed out that should make every NFL team pay attention. Stories like that get out. And they did. Tucker said he had at least 5 NFL general managers reach out to him in the weeks after that game asking, hey, what do you think of Travis Hunter? What do you think of Shedeur? What's Shedeur like? And Tucker had to tell them, I didn't get to talk to him. And you know what those GMs said? Yeah, we've heard that stuff. That's how the pre-draft process works, people. Everything counts. Everything adds up. When you skip production meetings with a major network, when you no-show interviews, when your teammate refuses to talk to a broadcaster doing your game, that stuff gets around. NFL front offices talk. Scouts compare notes. And suddenly, your draft stock starts falling. Tucker said those things step on top of each other. The skipped production meeting, then the combine meetings, and the way that pre-draft process went. It all builds a picture. And that picture is why a guy who everyone thought might go top 10 ended up where he ended up. But here's the twist, and this is where I'm going to take Shedeur's side for a second, because I think there's more to this story than just entitled quarterback doesn't want to talk to media. Think about the environment Shedeur was in at Colorado. You've got cameras everywhere. You've got Shedeur Sanders building a circus atmosphere around the program. You've got sponsors. You've got reality shows. You've got more media coverage than most NFL teams get. Maybe Shedeur was just burned out. Maybe he was trying to protect his mental space. Maybe he was actually hurt, and everyone's making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. And let's be real, the kid can play. Tucker didn't question his ability. The GMs asking about him weren't questioning whether he could throw a football. They were questioning his character, his work ethic, his willingness to do the little things that NFL teams need from their franchise quarterback. So here's where this all comes back to the Browns. They're sitting on this last card with Shedeur Sanders. They know the fan base is desperate for hope. They know the locker room is starting to check out. Tucker even asked how you guard against guys having a delayed reaction to that Jets loss when they face the Ravens, and whether guys might just let go of the rope. The Browns are 1989 away from their last division title. Let that sink in. Ross Tucker was 10 years old the last time the Browns won the AFC North. Bernie Kosar was the quarterback. Tucker even said those back-to-back AFC Championship game losses to Denver with the Ernest Biner fumble still hurt him, and he's not even from Cleveland. That's how painful this franchise's history is. But here's what Tucker said that should give the Browns fans some hope and some serious pause at the same time. He thinks if the Browns make a change, it's more likely that Stefanski gets fired and Barry stays. Why? Because of that Jaguars trade. Because Barry's thinking long-term while Stefanski can't even win the games he should win right now. Tucker pointed out that nobody thought the Browns were winning 10-digit games this year. Nobody had Super Bowl expectations. But they've had their chances. The Bengals game, the Vikings game, the Jets game. They've had opportunities to win games they should have won, and they keep finding ways to lose them. That's coaching. That's preparation. That's discipline. And when your team gives up 2 special teams touchdowns in the first quarter, when your quarterback takes 2 sacks on 4th down, when your defensive lineman goes off sides on the most critical play of the game, that's not just bad luck. That's systematic failure. The story continues, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next because Ross Tucker's revelation about what this means for the Browns' future and why they're really holding on to Shedeur Sanders gets even more intense.